on. They're still looking for volunteers in the concession. Rich would love to have you down there. My wife would love to have you. She can take a day off down there. She's there right now as we speak, working the concession. She loves it, and so and play. Because I think the concussion protocol is about 120 days. And I think he's still under the concussion protocol, so I don't know if he really needs to play in this game. And between he and my son, there's a 14-year difference. My son is 38. He's 21. So it's a big difference. It's a big age difference in there. Yeah. And they're practicing. Rich, they're practicing. I didn't know we could practice. But you know what that means, though, right? They probably need it. Yeah. So we're gonna let them practice, get all the shots up, and then we're just gonna go and take the big trophy home on Friday. And so if it comes down to it, I'm gonna have to lace them up. I'm gonna have to lace them up and get me 2 or 3 minutes in and go sit down. Kind of like Pastor's gonna do. Pastor McClure's gonna get him 2 minutes in. But my sons told me to bring this message to all of y'all that after Friday he's gonna be looking for an NIL deal from Irondale. So we're ready. We're ready, Mr. President, for Friday. So it's just an enjoyable time. So we're excited to be there, and I hope you can come out and watch these old men pull a muscle. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending our council meeting. A couple of items to cover. The third annual Irondale Auto Classic is being held this Saturday, May 11th at Classic Car Motoring. For those interested in entering their classic vehicle, you can pre-register at www.irondaleautoclassic.com. Registration will open at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, and it will continue on until 1 p.m. The show begins at 11 a.m. Judging ends at 2 p.m. and the awards will be given starting at 2:30 p.m. and 3 p.m. There are going to be giveaways and raffle prizes throughout the show, and it's a very worthy cause. 100% of the proceeds from this event go to Racing for Children's. The event is free to the public, but if you would like to give a donation while you're there for Racing for Children's, they'll be accepting donations there. If you've never been to it, it's really a fantastic classic car show with hundreds of cars, really impressive. It draws classic cars from all over the state as well as other states. So if you'd like to see some of these classic cars from your younger days, you will not be disappointed. Secondly, I would like to extend a special thank you from our District 3 community to our Public Works team who picked up the items left on the curbs during Trash Amnesty Week. So to Mr. Pennington and his team, the District 3 community thanks you very much for the wonderful work that you did. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Bach?
Thank you, Council President. Wow, good to see everybody here tonight. Got a lot of exciting things coming up on this agenda, so I'm not going to get into a bunch of any fluff. Our Senior Citizen Center had a great time having their meal for walking to New Orleans. And once again, always can't say thank you enough to our police and fire abatement boards keeping things going well. I do still ask for my neighborhoods to get with me. Let me know if there's any projects we can see if the city can support for you. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sims?
Good evening, everybody. Reminder that next Tuesday will be the monthly Holiday Gardens Neighborhood Association meeting at 6:30 at the Senior Activity Center. So if you live in Holiday Gardens, come out, see what's going on in the neighborhood. And I'm looking forward to Friday. I've actually run twice trying to get ready so I don't die on the court, which is the first 2 times I think I've run since I've been in the Marine Corps. So we'll see how it goes. Kristen, just get open under the basket. We'll be all right. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you all for attending tonight. Love the smack talking. I'm really enjoying that. So looking forward to see who comes up with the W there. Regarding, we've got one particular item on the agenda tonight, and I meant to say something about this a few meetings back, just as a PSA. But if you reach out to Ruffner Mountain, they can get you plugged in with this, and basically If you don't know how it works, the coalition consists of Ruffner Park, Ruffner Mountain, Turkey Creek, Red Mountain, and I know I'm forgetting one, but regardless, if you are a resident of Irondale, you actually get free membership to these particular parks. So you complete a little form, it's not hard. And you send it up, and in about 2 weeks, you'll get a pack of stickers from all the parks. You'll get a letter. You'll get something to hang under your rearview mirror. But that's something specific to citizens of Irondale and citizens of Pinson. I know if there's an additional municipality in there, I'm not quite sure. But just something to think about when we move into one of these agenda items. I wanted to pass that tidbit along, but tonight was the night I did it. So there you go. I want to thank the Irondale Police Department. I had a reason to give them a call, and just once again reminded of how fantastic they are. So thank y'all for anybody that had a conversation with me about that situation. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure there's something else, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to go ahead and move on. So thank you once again. All right. I want to break for a second from normal procedure. We've got a particular agenda item. It's going to be, which one is it around the VBGA? There's only 33 of them. Cities agreement. Regarding the variance board, we have 4 people that are applying for that variance board. I would like to go ahead and take an opportunity now to have those candidates come up. Give us about 5 minutes. Tell us why you want to do this. We'll probably have some questions for you, and we just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. Maybe save you a little time off your life there. I'm going to go in order of last name, just to be fair. Do we have a Heather Flaherty in our midst? If you could come on up. And once again, this is we have 4 applicants for the variance board, so that's what we're talking about. We have 2 positions that we need to fill. So come on up and tell us a little bit about yourselves. Tell us why you want to do this. We might have some questions for you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Heather Flaherty. I live at 1335 Montevallo Road. I'm not sure if that's appropriate. And this is my first time to do this. I've been to a few city council meetings, but I have not participated at this level. So the reason that I have applied for the ZBA open position for the supernumerary position primarily is because of a few different reasons. I've lived in Irondale for the last 4 years, and I'm a little bit nervous.
Take your time. You're good.
Yeah. So I got introduced to the ZBA late last year, when I was doing a whole house renovation at my primary residence, and I had to apply for a variance. And through that process, I became acquainted with, you know what I just forgot to do? I forgot to say good evening to Mayor Stewart and the council members.
Good evening.
Gosh, please forgive me. I'll remember better next time. Okay. Back to where I was. I didn't expect to be.
You applied for
I didn't expect to be
variance.
first tonight, guys. So I got introduced to the Zoning Board of Adjustments, and it piqued my interest when I saw the post for the open position. Not only did that board pique my position, but I have just a love for our city. I am so grateful to be a resident of Irondale, and I love our community. I love the staff that is employed by our great city. And on to one of the reasons I would like to be involved is that I would have more connection to our city. And if I were to say my qualifications, I have many years in the professional world. I worked in commercial real estate. I'm currently a residential realtor. And so zoning and those sorts of things come up quite often in my profession. And what else can I say about my qualifications? Let's see, I just finished the Citizen Engagement Institute, which also created more connection for me to our city. And I just am very interested in becoming more involved here. I love all of the people that I've met, including all of my neighbors. And I'd just like to be considered for the opportunity. And I think I can breathe now. I really am not this bad of a public speaker, but you caught me off guard.
Thank you. Just hang out with us for a minute. Councilman London, do you have any questions for the young
I
lady?
don't have any questions, just a comment. Just thank you for stepping up and wanting to be part of Ironton. It's a lot of people, sits on the backside and complain all the time about what we're doing and what not doing. But I appreciate you stepping up and want to get into the fire. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Quayle.
Miss Flaherty, good evening. Thank you so much for submitting your resume and for expressing your interest. It's always wonderful to have our residents stepping forward to serve in a capacity. In your experience, you had the experience with the ZBA, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. I don't have any questions for you, but did highlight things that were of interest to me. So I want to thank you again for putting your name in the hat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Yes, I'm echoing Councilwoman Queller and Councilman London's. Your resume looks impressive, and so thank you for being willing to volunteer. Unfortunately, at this point in time, it's not really a full-time position, but hopefully it could work that way. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
See, that wasn't so bad. No, good evening. Thanks for, again, same thing they said. Thanks for applying. This is going to be for everyone that applied. Thank you for applying to stand up, raise your hand and volunteer to be on a board for the city. Community engagement's great. And I guess I just have one question for our attorney, because she is a licensed realtor with my brokerage. Would I need to abstain from any vote that she's on, or is that a issue at all? Okay. I meant to ask earlier and just totally forgot. Okay.
Because you don't actually receive any financial compensation. She will not from his position. And so I don't think there's any reason.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up and everything. Variance board, very important board. You've experienced that firsthand, and probably seen some of the cases that have moved through it. Some of them are very polarized, some of them not so much. So I just appreciate the willingness to kind of get into the fray on that. I usually ask why someone's crazy enough to sit on a volunteer board, but you pretty much already answered my questions with your love and connected it to the city. So other than that, I just thank you for your time tonight, and we'll see you around maybe. Thank you. You're free to sit down.
Okay, thank you all so much.
Is everybody's mics on? Okay. All right. Moving on down the list. All right. Trey Hawkins, if you could come on down, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Suspect some of you are not used to seeing me not wearing safety orange. I'm Trey Hawkins. I live at 3728 Villa Drive. I had been approached by somebody to apply for the BZA. I have already got some experience working in city government. And because of that, I've got some intimate knowledge of Blueprint Irondale and the vision and goals of the city on that. Also, I've gone through the Apple study pretty extensively, the Red River Trail studies, things like that. So I kind of know that outline of ideas for the city. I've been involved on the review and edit of the recent sign ordinances that were added. So I do have that experience, and I've been working with Jefferson County engineers, Freshwater Land Trust people, and several other folks. As far as my background goes, I've got a 45-year period in construction. My parents were in commercial construction and treated their children like free labor, so we got a lot of education early. And then for the last 30 years, I've been in the steel business, and a big chunk of that has been structural steel and construction and manufacturing. So as far as the position goes, I've also served for the last 2 years as the chair for the Villas HOA Architectural Control Committee. So I've got quite a bit of experience with dealing with those covenants and rules and everything else that go into various neighborhoods as part of it, and how that affects, how variances can affect those situations. So as far as kind of the philosophy I take with this is, I believe strongly in Irondale. You can tell from the time I spend hoping to attract business to the city, but ultimately, I think we need to have careful, managed growth, have to be pragmatic about everything. We've got to consider our laws. We've also got to consider the spirit of the laws, and we also have to worry about unintended consequences. So someone had approached me about serving, so I did apply, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Councilman London?
No, again, this is gonna be for everybody, no question. So if I didn't ask the first person the question, I shouldn't ask you any questions, right? So I'm not gonna ask anybody any questions, but just want to say, I've seen you, Trey, been knowing you a long time. I've seen you work, I've seen you on the sideline, and I've seen you in the fire working for the city of Irondale, and I appreciate what you do. And so I'm just excited that you stepped up and want to be part of this board. Thank you.
Councilwoman Quayle?
I have no questions, but I do want to thank Mr. Hawkins for submitting his name to be considered for the ZBA board. Or board, ZBA or BZA. They call it two things, Zoning Board of Adjustment or Zoning Board of Adjustment. I'm not sure what's the proper acronym for it.
Fair enough. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. Yeah, thanks again, Trey. We appreciate the work you've already done, and glad you're looking to shift and even do more possibly. So thank you.
Councilman Sims?
Thanks for applying to do something else. No, just like everyone else said, I mean, we've got 4 great applicants, so thanks for stepping up, and I'll be a tough decision later.
I've known you for a while. I've always enjoyed our conversations, and on and off the clock, for that matter. And just once again, thank you for sticking your nose out on this one. Thank you, sir. All right, Francisca Roscoe, come on down.
I'd like to say good evening to the mayor and city council.
Good evening.
Francesca Maud Roscoe, at 5018 Janet Lane. I have been an Irondale citizen and homeowner since March 1989. My son grew up here, attended school here, and I just have a love for the city. I always have. It's just been a wonderful place to live. My interest in the zoning board is to continue to assist in maintaining what we have and making what we have even better. Because that's the only way we're going to continue to attract the best citizens we can have, the best businesses we can have. And I just have an interest in that. I'm currently retired from UAB for the past 10 years. I'm also a licensed insurance agent, and I'm currently involved in insurance and financial counseling. And I think that background would also help me to assist city council, mayor's office, wherever the need may be, in making Irondale a good city, which is a good city, and even better city.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh,
Councilman?
I also volunteer where I can. I've been at the Irondale and back game night, ballpark concession stand, Easter egg experiences. Wherever I can volunteer, I'm there. Whenever I have the time. And I was also a graduate of the inaugural Citizen Engagement Institute class of October 2021.
Thank you. Councilman London?
Again, sorry, Turn this on again. Thank you, no question. Thank you for stepping out. Been knowing you a long time. Go back to your son playing Shades Valley football. So been knowing you a long, long time, 30 plus years. So thank you for stepping up and being part of Irondale. We're excited that you stepped up for this position. Thank you.
Councilwoman Quare?
Yes, Ms. Roscoe, thank you so much for submitting your name, volunteer to serve on the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I've gotten to know you from the Abatement Board. You always come faithfully, and I really appreciate your input that you give to the Abatement Board members. I always sit in the back, as you know, and I just take notes. And that's really how I've gotten to know that you do have an interest in Irondale, and I want to thank you again for submitting your resume.
Councilman Box?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Roscoe. Again, can't thank everybody enough that's stepping up to do this. Your resume looks impressive, and so hopefully we'll find a spot for you.
Councilman Sims?
I feel like we're saying the same things over and over again.
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
Thank you for applying. Same as everyone else said. Just thanks for all you've done so far, and we'll see if we can use you here on this board also.
Thank you for putting your name in. We've bumped into each other quite often, and as you've been volunteering for things, and I'm usually running around chasing 2 children and stuff. So I appreciate you reaching out and being willing to serve in this capacity. Thank you for your time. All right, and last but not least, Miss Mary Sure.
Hi there, Council,
Greetings.
President, Mayor. I'm Mary Sheriff, 5276 Amber Hills Road, and I am also almost a graduate of the Citizens Engagement Institute. It's been fun. It's been, Mayor invited me. He said, when I met with him in his office, he said, you need to come to this. And I was, I don't go in the fall. I'm busy in the fall. And I thought, well, this is a good time. So I've enjoyed that. But I've also had I had a zoning case of my own, which was lengthy. Lengthy. I've never had anything like such a thing. But I got to get into the zoning laws and the different regulations and the different types of zoning. It was really an eye opener. And then I started going to the Zoning Board of Adjustments meetings, and I haven't been to a lot, but sometimes it's as simple as someone was building on a lot and they were too close to their neighbors, but it was the same foundation that had already been there. Or, they wanted, some sort of a adjustment for something. And whether or not it was ethical or whether it followed the rules of the abatement of the adjustment board, those are all very, very interesting and intricate things. They're part legal, they're part human, they're part of your heart, they're part of people who want to do something with their property, but they're also part of keeping Irondale within certain regulations. And I think that those are the parts of the Zoning Board of Adjustments that are difficult, the heart and the legal. And that's why I would like to be a part of it. I know I have looked at other opportunities as they've come open, and I thought, no, that's not no, I'm not going to do that. But this one I thought, well, it's worth standing up and giving it a try.
Cool. Thank
you.
Councilman London?
Same spiel. Thank you. Stepping out. I've watched you many years in the back, coming up and giving you comments. But thank you for getting into the fight. A lot of times you can be outside looking in and thinking it's easy, but once you get in this board, you realize you're gonna be in the fight. Yeah, it's not gonna be as easy.
I watch you all.
But
Not
I
so
appreciate
easy.
you. I appreciate you stepping up for this board. Thank you.
Councilwoman Quare?
Ms. Shear, thank you for submitting your name to be considered for the Zoning Board of Adjustment. I've gotten to know you you're coming to the council meetings. Councilman Box, I think you were the one at a commercial development authority. She came to one of those meetings, and I didn't know her at the time, and got a chance to visit with her after that. And I think that may have been the one that you said, nah, I don't think. but she's always, as I looked throughout the city, the names that I do recognize, of course, is everyone, Mr. Hawkins, Miss Roscoe, Miss Shear, because throughout the year and serving on the council, we've seen you in different areas and different capacities. And I just want to thank you for submitting your resume.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Yeah, I think that's right. And thank you, Mary. Finally, somebody from my district that steps up to ask to do something. So that's amazing. Your resume is impeccable. The experience you've had is very diligent yet difficult work with some very large corporations. So I think you'd be a extreme asset to the team. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
Thanks for submitting your application. I can't add much to anything they just said. Appreciate you raising your hand and coming forward.
Thank
Thanks.
And to your point, like I said, a lot of times I ask why people want to do something like this, serve on a volunteer board. Something you said about the heart in a project and everything like that. When someone's coming up to a variance or something like that, there's usually something pretty big going on, probably with one of their largest investments. So there's a lot of stuff that has to be considered on that. So I just thank you for your willingness to tackle those conversations. Thank you for your time. All right. Y'all are more than welcome to stay. If you choose to exit, that's one of the reasons I've kind of brought this up to the forefront of the agenda. But the item will still remain in its queue where it resides currently. All right, that being said, at this time, we would take any public comments to the council on non-agenda items.
John Bavona, 1296 Shades Terrace. As you know, the hub at Grants Mill, adjacent to Cahaba River, was selected by the Alabama Department of Labor in 2024 to receive federal funding for its 330-unit apartment complex through a grant from the Department of Interior Abandoned Mine Program. Free money to an investment company to earn a nice return for its investors. Here's what you don't know. From the DOI grant, quoting, funding may only be spent on eligible abandoned coal mine reclamation projects to include the restoration of adjacent land, water resources, and the environment. From the plans I reviewed, I did not see any coal mine site restoration. As per the grant guidelines, you have handout page 1 of 25. Public engagement, quoting, when selecting eligible projects for the abandoned mine land program, state programs should ensure public engagement at the local level with affected communities to include all stakeholders, citizens, and environmental groups. That was not done either. That's strike 2 if you're keeping count. And strike 3 is the permit omitted rock blasting and its environmental impacts to the Cahaba River, which you're aware of. Do what is right for the citizens of Irondale. Withhold the building permit until such public engagement occurs to address site restoration and impacts to the Cahaba River and watershed, not what is right for investors.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments on non-agenda items? All right. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Judy Wilson. I live at 3510 Belmont Road. I have permission to have this bag here with these lovely plants. I'm coming to you tonight as your neighbor in Irondale. We've had the fortune over the years to have many friends and family come and share their plants with us. And so we've had them so long and they multiply. Like they don't have any birth control. I mean, they grow and grow and grow. So we would love to share free of charge to anyone that would like to come by. I have the tools to dig them up. I don't have a lot of luck anymore digging. But these are hostas. They grow in the shade or the sun. This is oak leaf hydrangea. They grow wild in the woods. They're beautiful. These didn't come from the wood, came from my yard. They grow sometimes taller than I am, and they're beautiful. And they're very hardy. I only choose hardy plants. And if you buy or get native plants that are used to the environment, you know, the dirt. And we learned when we first moved here in 1985 that in Irondale, we don't plant our plants where you can dig a hole. Well, we don't plant them where we want to necessarily. We plant wherever you can dig a hole because there's so many rocks. And my husband told me that when we first moved here. He said, Judy, I can't put these where you want. I have to put them where I can get a hold of. So, but they're very hardy. And that's why I'm coming to you tonight as a neighbor. And to quote my favorite meteorologist, James Spann, he always says, don't plant your plants until the middle of April at least, because you're going to have another freeze or frost or something. So it's the first part of May, so you're safe in putting these out. So if you want to see me after, I started to say class, which after the meeting, I'd be glad to share them with you or tell you more.
Thank you, Miss Judy. Comments on non-agenda items. Any more comments on non-agenda items? All right, we will go ahead and move on to our next item, which would be any reports from any boards or non-council committees or department heads for that matter.
Hello, I'm Sherry Berry with the Greater Irondale Chamber of Commerce. Our world here in Irondale, as small as it is complex, interdependent, and interrelated, causing old paradigms of singular leadership. They just don't work sometimes. This is why we band together to support conglomerate leadership for the common good. And this is how I see the role of the City Council, as well as the role of the Irondale Chamber. I'm the executive director at the Chamber, but we are also governed by a fantastic group of Irondale business and community leaders. Our president and chair of the board is Pastor Mike McClure. I'm blessed to have such a tremendous support, care, wisdom, and enthusiasm from this group. And now that our databases and other infrastructures have righted, we have much to share and build upon in our business community. We're recruiting and building programs to support our mission in networking, professional development, and workforce readiness. Membership has grown from 59 businesses this time last year to 111 in the present, and it's still growing. So we're very excited about that. Bi-monthly luncheons have continued to successfully network people together. Businesses on the Beat has been a great booster. I want to thank the chiefs, Wiggins and McDaniel, for their support and camaraderie with their departments throughout these meet and greet lunch sessions. Recently, we've also had good showings from the Revenue Department, Inspections, and Public Works. I want to thank you for that. Feedback from the businesses shows that they also appreciate these direct outreach efforts. We continue to add value by implementing programs such as The Gathering. This is kind of sessions for social development. Train Your Brain, sessions for professional development, and the Fall Festival, which brings community and businesses together. We have a strategic plan to fundraise throughout this year, culminating in a charity golf tournament next spring. We look forward to participating again with the city in the many upcoming events and activities. We'll be there for the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. We'll be part of the Barks and Brews that's coming up. We always enjoy I Love Irondale, as well as Yo Amo Irondale Days and the Christmas Parade. Our next luncheon is July the 10th, and I'm working very hard to reel in a very popular speaker. This may give away the secret, but I was told to wait until after the NBA playoffs to really start bugging him about it. So keep that in mind. Lately, we're busy with ribbon cutting ceremonies, which is a very good thing. We make all efforts to alert everyone when there is a new business grand opening, and I want to say to you and to the public, you are always invited. This is all I have for tonight, unless you have anything. Thank you, and my gratitude abounds.
Thank you. Any other reports of any boards or non-council committees or department heads? All right, moving on. Let's see here, reports, comments. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the deliberation phase of our agenda. Here we go. Number 1, resolve the resolution 2025 R71 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a service agreement with Grace Klein Community, Inc. in the amount of $3,500 for the provision of resources for underprivileged and disadvantaged individuals in the community, such as but not limited to the provision of food and clothing. Mayor Stewart, anything you have to say?
Thank you, Council President. I know for a few years now, there's been discussion about, we need to do more to be able to help the poor. We need to be in a position to help those, to provide them with food and to be able to provide them with clothing. I've heard several times about how the occupational license fee was taking food and clothes out of the mouths of babes and individuals. I thought that this organization, Grace Klein, could fill the gap to be able to make up that difference. And that's why I am sponsoring this resolution, to see if we could connect with them to be able to provide those basic necessities of life that would be free to anybody that lives in the Irondale community.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London?
Is the representative from Grace Klein's here today? You're here? I don't have a question, but I will have one afterwards, after the meeting is over. Okay? All right, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cuellar?
I have no questions, Council President Spivey, but on some of these, I'm going to want to abstain until we have a little more, some answers in regard to our mid-year budgeting. I've got some concerns there, and so I'm going to be abstaining.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. The only question I would have, and I think the mayor covered it, it would be predominantly for citizens of Irondale, but are you statewide or nationwide? What's your principal focus? Okay, thank you so much. That's it.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
Oh, I think this is a great organization. I don't know if you were at Grantswood, correct? Yeah. Met at Grantswood when they had a thing for, I don't know, a whole bunch of people there. But I think you'll do great work. I'm glad that the mayor and you have been able to talk and get something started here in Irondale. Thank you.
Thank you for your presence, and thank you for being on our agenda tonight.
Council President, I'm sorry if I could just announce Ms. Claudine Land, who is the executive director for Grace Klein.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm going to abstain on.
I understand. Okay. All right. Item number 2, resolve the resolution 2025 R72 authorizes the allocation of public funds in an amount up to $500 from the FY 24-25 discretionary fund of Councilor John London to be used exclusively for the summer screen scene movie night on May 23rd, 2025. Mayor mentioned it in his report, but
there
by
it
all
is.
means, feel free to
Yep,
say what you want to say.
There it is.
All right, there it is.
There it is.
All right, fair enough. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No comments.
All right, Councilman Box?
I'm good.
All right, Councilman Sims?
I have a 9-year-old little girl. I've heard a lot of the songs from Wicked. I've never seen it, so maybe that'll be the night.
Oh my gosh. We bought it as soon as I saw it in the theater. I've probably seen at least the first half an hour 572 times because they watch it every night when they go to bed. So we are very acquainted. Thank you very much for sponsoring this, Councilman London. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 3, resolve that resolution 2025 R73 authorizes the allocation of public funds in the amount of $306.99 from the FY 24-25 discretionary fund of Councilor John London to be used exclusively for re-landscaping the entrance of the Stone Ridge neighborhood. Councilman London.
Yes, I do want to make one change, to say 500 instead of 306.99 on here, just in case they need a little something extra.
They'll run over.
Yeah, so I want to change that to $500. And I also want to make this statement. People know me as I've been counsel, that I'm very generous to the neighborhoods and the communities. If they need something, they always know to call me, and I jump on board to make sure to get it happen. And so it speaks for itself, swings and whatever. So I just want to make sure I make that statement. But $500 instead of $306.99.
Gotcha. Understood. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
I'm good with it.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
I'm good. Do we leave this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Item number 4, resolve the resolution 2025 R74 authorizes the allocation of public funds in the total amount of $1,000 from the FY 24-25 education budget to be used exclusively for educational purposes by the Irondale Community School. Mayor Stewart, this has your name by it?
this was a program that we helped them to be able to establish at the Irondale Community School for, I think it was FY24. We helped them to be able to set up a store in the school to be able to reward those kids when they are learning and doing the things that they're supposed to do. So it's kind of like a motivational deal there. And I am asking that we provide them with an additional $1,000 to be able to continue to fulfill their purpose.
Thank you. Councilman Linden?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
The only question I have on it, this one is it possible for us to have a report on how the $1,000 was used with their educational purpose? I always like to know. It makes a difference. I know that we did this with Grantswood, and they put on some good things and reported back to us. So I'm just wondering, is it possible to get a report back on how they use this $1,000 for the educational purpose?
That's fine.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Cool. Councilman Box?
No questions. I'm good with it.
All right. Councilman Sims?
Thank you, Mayor. No questions.
And no questions for myself. Thank you for introducing it. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
Item number 5, resolve that resolution 2025 R75 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee to execute a service agreement with the Cahaba River Society, Inc. in the amount of $50,000 from the provision of recreational opportunities and community benefits to the citizens of Irondale through the protection and restoration of the Cahaba River. I know we've already heard about this kind of this evening and the ask. Any questions, Councilman Linden?
I do have one comment. Do I get the next canoe ride?
He's left out, but I can
left
make
out?
sure we get you
Yeah. Well,
scheduled to do a moonlight ride on the
Moonlight ride. I wanna do the
Cahaba.
moonlight ride.
Yeah. You and Adrian, you could do it for a date night.
I don't know. She can't swim. I can swim.
Well, I couldn't swim either,
You're
but they got me out there. But I'm quite sure we can get that set up.
Let's go.
All right. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Council President, just some comments. I mean, I'm well aware of the wonderful work the Cahaba River Society has been doing in serving Irondale and other areas with the Cahaba River. And I'm going to abstain on this one because of some concerns I have with our budgets. And so I'm not for them. I'm not against them. I just would like some additional information as far as our finances before moving forward. So I'm going to abstain on this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
This is basically the same offering that we did last year, seed that we sowed into the Cahaba River Society to help them manage not only the productions that they announce, but I'm sure any legal issues that may come up where they can take action maybe against people that this funds could help them there as well. So thank you.
Fair enough. Councilman Sims?
Great organization. I'm glad that we've supported them the last several years, and I'm looking forward to continuing.
Cool. Looking forward to the ongoing partnership. And John, Councilman Leonard, I'll be with you on that one. All right. We agree to keep this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Then I'll abstain.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Item number 6, resolve the resolution 2025 R76 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart or his designee to execute a service agreement with Jefferson County Greenways Foundation, FKA Ruffner Mountain Nature Coalition, in the amount of $50,000 for the provision of recreational opportunities and community benefits to the citizens of Irondale through the protection and restoration of Ruffner Mountain. Mayor, I know you've got your name on this one as well as the Cahaba. I didn't really ask you to say anything about that since we had a presenter.
Okay, well,
Is
that's
there
fine.
anything that you want to say about item number 6?
Yes, I would just say that this $50,000 would go to be able to provide opportunities on the Irondale side of the mountain. And we provided this amount to them, I believe, since we have been up here on the council. Number 3, this is a budgeted item that was a part of the original budget that we created. Basically, that's all that I would like to say. I believe that you all would have received in your packets the financials for them, so you have that information there as well, if that is a concern. But this is something that we've done for the Cahaba. We promote Ruffner, and we promote the Cahaba, and we've also set aside funding to be able to do things on the Irondale side of the mountain.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions, and again, I'm gonna abstain on this one also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
No, I'm good with it. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Sims?
Another great organization. I know that Jefferson County Greenways Commission was formed, I think, last year, that now Ruffner is a part of. And I actually just went up there with the third graders from Grantswood one day last week and hiked around and saw a snake and a bunch of other stuff. Like, not a cage snake. We saw that one, but out in the wild. I don't know how. The only deaf snake on Ruffner Mountain, because 17 third graders went past it and it was still sitting there waiting on me. So,
Wasn't fake.
it's a fun trip. All the kids enjoyed. But not a fan of snakes right here, just in case you're curious. But love everything they do. Go out there, take a hike, go to the nature center, learn a lot. They've got amazing things. I think all Jefferson County schools can go for free. Just got to get the kids there, and they'll have a program for them, no matter what age. So glad to support them.
Thank you. And this was the item I was talking about where you can reach out and they'll mail you a membership letter to the and stickers and parking tags for all the parks that roll up through this coalition. So I'm good with it. Consent?
Yes,
Council
Yes, sir.
President, and those 3 parks that you mentioned is Red Mountain, Turkey Creek, and Ruffner.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I thought there was a fourth in there, but I might
It's
have
just
been. Okay, gotcha. Do we agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
Okay,
And I'll abstain on it.
understood.
Thank you.
Item number 7, resolve that resolution 2025 R77 authorizes the payment of a cash award in the amount of $1,000 to certain city employees in recognition of such employee exemplary performance as allowed by Alabama Code 11-40-22. Mayor, I know this is a part of your report. Is there anything else you have to say on this item?
There were 2 other employees that I did not mention their name. They're at the Irondale Senior Activity Center. Miss Julie was not here tonight to be able to share their names. But we also will be adding Doug Watkins and Wynette Moss.
Okay.
They've been doing an exceptional job up there working with Miss Julie with all the additional programs and trips and everything that they do. And they've definitely gone beyond the call of duty, and we want to be able to reward them for that.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London?
And those 2, I think, was holding it down until we found the director.
Yes.
So they did a great job. Thank you.
Councilwoman McQuair?
Yes, I just want to echo what the mayor and Councilor London said. I've been hearing many good things about the work that Miss Moss
Yep.
and Mr. Watkins have been doing.
Cool.
So those are my comments.
All right. Councilman Box?
I'm very happy that we're continuing to sow into our employees for good jobs.
Absolutely. Councilman Sims?
Just great work for all 5 of the employees, and no questions.
All right. No questions for myself. We agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
All right. Number 8, resolve the resolution 2025 R78 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase fencing from Mr. Fence LLC for the Ruffner Park Sports Complex in an amount not to exceed $1,995. Mr. Blankenship, this has your name by it. Anything you need to say?
Without a visual, this is just a fencing request to close the gap between a pole and the dugouts. And it's a liability and safety issue. And when you built the structure is something that you wouldn't have called till the project was done. So
Gotcha.
you just need to get some closure there and tighten it up.
Thank you. Councilman London?
So we've looked at it, and as a matter of fact, I ran a couple of people out of the park one day. I was down there with my grandson, and they crawled through that fence and got on the field, and I had to pull them out. They hesitated, and until I turned around and went back, and then they made a good choice.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions. Thank you for letting us know what was going on there. Appreciate it.
Councilman Box?
Yeah, good catch, Rich. Thank you, sir.
Councilman Sims?
I'm glad we're getting resolved. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We agree to leave this item on consent?
Yes.
Outstanding. All right, item number 9. Resolve the resolution 2023 R102A amends resolution 2023 R102 authorizing Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute a lease agreement with Stone Town Irondale LLC for the property located at 111 Trailer Lane, Irondale, Alabama 35210 for that such property may be utilized for the duration of the city's water department capital improvement project. You want to run that one down for us, Mayor?
Yes, Jared is not here today, but this has to deal with the capital improvement plan that we talked about making sure that we have redundancy in the water system. This allows us to be able to run the line up through Holiday Gardens to be able to create that loop that we so desperately need to be able to provide for our water customers.
Thank you. Councilman Linden?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
The only, it's just a comment because I was just a little confused. Just a week at the last council meeting, maybe the one before that one, we had 106 Trailer Lane where we sold that. How far is this one from 106? This is 111. And I'm just kind of wondering, is it on the other side, or why would we have sold 106 if this one isn't that far? It could, I didn't get a chance to drive out there to look at it. So that's why I'm just asking that question.
City attorney says she can speak to it.
Okay, thank you.
This is an access point, and it will be used as that. And so, and this was just to increase rent. You all have already approved this. There was just a like, you know, since it's been 2 years, you know, this is an increase of $100 per month.
Very good. Thank you for
That's
that
why it's coming
explanation.
back.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
No, I'm good with this. If Greg or Jared needs it to get it done, let's get it done.
All right. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And I have no questions. We agree to leave this on consent?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Scratch one. All right, going on to the regular agenda. Resolve that Resolution 2024 R219A amends Resolution 2024 R219 establishing a travel policy for the City of Iredell employees. Mayor, I understand there's been a subtle adjustment.
We created a travel policy probably a couple of months ago for all the city employees. We put a per diem rate in there of $75 per day for individuals to have to be able to supply themselves, to be able to eat while they are on the trip. The problem is the way that the funding was broken down. For instance, breakfast is $18. But if you go to, Lee went to Point Clear last week, breakfast was $22 before you added tax and tip to it. Then lunch is around $21. It's very hard to find when you are in a place like that where there's no other place around and you got to eat at the hotel that you can spend $21 for lunch and then $31 for dinner. What we found since we've enacted it and started to be able to use it, it's very difficult to identify or to get meals that fall within that range. What we're recommending now, instead of having a range, because everybody doesn't eat breakfast, everybody doesn't eat lunch, everybody doesn't eat dinner. And instead of forcing people to have a dollar amount for those three occasions, we would just like to increase it to where it's $100 across the board. And if they eat lunch and they spend $100, that's fine. If they eat $100 worth of breakfast, that's fine. We just don't want to try to make them fall into those buckets because it's almost impossible when you go to certain places unless you don't eat or maybe you create your own fast. But this is what this is all about, really just to allow people $100 a day, period, instead of trying to break down what you should have for each meal.
Fair enough. Thank you. Councilman London?
Self-explanatory. Good with that. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, I would like to comment and give y'all each a handout. When I worked on the business travel policy, I did go to the GSA website and looked at, always want to strive to strike a balance when we do anything for our employees. And if you look at what Birmingham is allowing, has a per diem for their staff, it's $80. Gulf Shores has $74. Huntsville has $74. And Mobile has $74. And so reaching to strike that balance between 80 and 74, I said, okay, let's do 75 for them. And it was taking the table that they had in formatting the one that we had. That's how that came about. And these are very large municipalities. And I just thought, well, this is good. This is fair for our employees. We're not asking them to eat peanuts, or to have pretzels, but they can get a good meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's being fair. And it was based on the research, and that's the tables that you have. And if you do go to the website and you click on Alabama, and you click on just cities, this table will come up. And I was able to get that and print it out on May 3rd. So it's a very recent one. So that's why it's $75. I think it's fair. And I'm mindful of the fact that these are public funds, and we want to be good stewards with our public funds.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. The prices the mayor quoted, I see what Councilwoman McQuaylar has done for the GSA, adding up the mayor's 18, 21, 31, 70, 20% tip makes it 84, and then roughly 10% tax, not on everything, not on all cases, but I'm seeing 93 there, so I don't think 100's out of the question. So I'm okay with it.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
I'm okay with it. No questions.
Fair enough. I have no questions either. Thank you for the research, Councilman McQuarrie.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see here. Item number 11, resolve the resolution 2025 R64A amends resolution 2024 R64 that establishes standardized procedures for appointing citizens to city boards. Councilwoman Cuellar, I know that we have already kind of had this conversation due to an item that was introduced and approved by Councilman Sims. Do you care to introduce your item?
Yes, I do. And to make it easy for everyone, what I did was I took the resolution 64 that Councilman Sims introduced, and then I have the amended. The amended is on the top, and then you have Councilman Sims that that resolution that follows. I just thought instead of flipping and looking, you actually have both. The amended one is the first one. The resolution itself is the second. And the wording in that third paragraph where you see review and assess candidates, ensuring that each board is composed of members with diverse perspectives and expertise. And the council will make appointments through a formal vote. So it was seeking that balance, that clarity. It is a council that will make that through a formal vote. And instead of vetting and strategically composing, we're really assessing the candidates is what we're doing based on the resumes that they submit. And we're ensuring that each board is composed of members. And it's diverse perspectives and expertise. And I just thought that language was much more clear as to what the purpose is of the council when they're appointing members. We're assessing them, we're ensuring that it's going to be composed of members with diverse perspectives and expertise. And that's the amendment there. And as you go down to section 1, that I left out by the council, and I thank our legal counsel for adding that, by the council to municipal boards. And going down to B, again, the amended is on the top. It was 7 days. I did note during the council meeting that it wasn't fair to our residents to have 7 days. Some may be out of town on vacation, and then the city is closed 4 days. And so having 14 days gives them that opportunity. I want to open this up to give all residents that opportunity. And if they're out on vacation, they won't be back in time and be aware of it. So I changed that to 14 days. And the additional methods it had city clerk and I added the city council. We work with our city clerk. There may be some other ways that we would like it to be publicized, and that's why I added the city council. And notices being displayed at city facilities. You go on to the next page. It's just where the word "in writing" is placed in item C, submission. Statement of interest in writing to the city clerk, instead of shall submit in writing their resume or statement of interest. But you're actually saying the way that you're going to do it is in writing. And that was the only change, was moving in writing after statement of interest. Going down to D, distribution to council members. What I looked at with there, because we had mayor and current board members, and when I looked at this, I looked at it from the view of, we have a planning and zoning board that exists in our city and several municipalities. And the board members on the planning and zoning are appointed by our mayor, with the exception of the council president.
I want to ask you to
But-
pause right there, Councilwoman McQuarrie. We'll come back around to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Councilman London, any questions about what you've heard thus far?
No question. I thought we already passed this last council meeting. That's my only
Okay.
comment. It's my
Okay.
comment. Yeah.
Councilman Box?
I don't see any problem with some of the adjustments. The additional time to submit doesn't look like a bad idea. When we say deemed appropriate by the city clerk and the city council, I don't know that it would be wise for us to decide to post something somewhere without clearing it through the city clerk or through the mayor. So are you saying that we could actually post something?
No.
Or-
It's in working with our city clerk. So when we're in a council meeting and we've got something, we can work with our city clerk and say, hey, are you able to post it this way?
Okay.
But it's in conversation, dialogue with her. We wouldn't do anything on our own. No.
And so the in writing thing, I think just expressing, submit the resumes or statement of interest. Most people are going to use emails now anyway. So is in writing really required? Because if it's an email, what is in writing? Is an email considered in writing, or does it actually have to be typed, handwritten, and submitted that way?
Well, that's the resolution had in writing, Councilman Box.
Okay.
It's simply a matter of where you put the word in writing. I put it statement of interest in writing. The resolution, current one says shall
She's
submit
on your
in
time,
writing.
Councilman Box.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all that is.
I
I did not add that.
I would think it might be better said, better addressed via email, or forbidding via VOCA, because you wouldn't want somebody doing it above once. So, and I'll move from there. Thank you.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
Again, we discussed this ordinance last time. We voted on it. It was approved. I don't see why we're going to spend all this time on it when we have budgets to talk about. It says no less than 7 days currently. I only did that because sometimes we got to move fast. Sometimes someone's got to be on a board so that the board can do something that's pressing. We can choose as a council to primarily put it out there for 14 days as a rule, but in the event we have to move fast, I just wanted to give future councils that ability. A lot of it is, again, just, I don't like that word. So I'm going to put this word, which again seems useless to talk about. You struck the mayor. I don't know why. I think the mayor should probably provide some input if we would like it. And you haven't got to the rest, but I'll just pause for now since we need to get to some more important things.
My only comments, I would defer to legal. You were obviously helped draft the original resolution that's currently on the books. In your opinion, are there any particular needs for this extra verbiage, or would you just say that the majority of these are probably policy calls?
I noted that it was actually drafted, first off by, Counselor Sims, and then we edited it. And so all changes that I see here, except for the one in section 1, were actually, wording changes. And I noted that on the changes.
Gotcha.
So.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Crear, if you'd like to take your final 2 minutes to explain.
Section D, the reason that D was removing the mayor is the P and Z. Those are appointments that are made by the mayor with the exception of the council president. It isn't, the council does not weigh in on that. We don't give them feedback. It needs to be kept that way, and it's the same thing with council appointments. Where you don't get that feedback, but you keep those two separate because you've got P and Z, and then you've got another board. In this case, it may be ZBA. It may be something where we're going to be getting this. And so that's why you don't want that feedback, that commingling, for the reasons that I've stated. Just as we don't give feedback on the P and Z, those are his decisions to make. So these decisions should be based on, with the council, and there's no problem with having the board members themselves look at it, because they're going to be working with this individual. But it's having the mayor involved when we're not involved with the zoning board and that, with the P and Z, and that's a good thing. And it's also a good thing to not have the mayor involved in these as well. That's why the code says the council will do this. And that's why I did that. And then the rest is just, again, interviews, shall interview all applicants. The resolution says shall conduct interviews with. It's just getting rid of some wordy words, simplifying it, making it clear. That's all that is. And so those are my comments.
All right. Councilman London, do you have any additional comments?
No, I mean, just I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we've already talked about this 2 weeks ago. Put it for a vote and let's see what happens.
Okay. Councilman Box, any final comments from the second round?
As I said, the only thing I think possibly needful would be the 14 days.
Copy. Councilman Sims?
I think what we approved last meeting is pretty clear.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to item number 12. Resolve that resolution 2025 R79 approves the FY 2024-2025 general fund budget adjustment. Do you want to take them one by one, Mayor? How do you want to do this?
I'll take them one by one.
We'll take it one by
just
one.
in case if you all
All right.
have any questions. But the first one is the general fund budget. If you are looking at the paperwork that we provided you from the city, the reason that we are providing this budget from the city, because this is the system that captures all of the city financial data. I don't know why we would go outside the system that we use to create another system to be able to do those calculations. What you have in front of you is the adjustments for FY25. The first column that I want to talk to you all about is the year to date, because there was discussions or information that was put out that the city is running at a deficit. Well, if you look in the first column that we have there, you will see year to date, which is through March 31st, the city has a surplus of $1,368,093.25, which means that we're not running at a deficit. Through the first 6 months, we're running with a surplus. Then if you go to the revised budget that we created, which is the third column that says comparison 1 budget 2025 F25, you would see based on all the adjustments that was made, we are still projecting a surplus of $444,415.02. We have a surplus through the first 6 months. We have a surplus with the projections that have been made with the adjustments throughout the entire general fund budget. Now, there are a few things that I want to clear up, and I'm only addressing these things because these were erroneous things that have been said so far about the finances. The first thing, did we make the bond payment? Yes, we did make the bond payment. It would be foolish not to make a bond payment because it would cause a ripple effect to the city finances. If we didn't make the bond payment, we would have been on the front page of AL.com talking about that the city of Irondale failed to make their bond payment. I, the mayor, did not take the bond payment out of the projections that we gave to you. We explained this. I know I shared it with Councilman Box. The number was dropped when Lee Allison, the city clerk, ran the report. If somebody would have asked that question, then they wouldn't have begun to put out erroneous information about the mayor took out the payment to be able to pay the bonds. Second thing, if you know anything about bonds, you never make bond payments on April the 25th. Bond payments are always made on April 1st, July 1st, October 1st, and January the 1st. Those payments were made by our city clerk. However, the payments were made on April 1st. This report that you have is through the first 6 months. Therefore, it wouldn't show up in March because it was made in April. The second thing that I want to address is the mayor was in the building and he didn't show up to the finance committee meeting. Well, I told you all I wasn't showing up to the finance committee meeting when I was asked in that council meeting, Mayor, are you coming to the council work session? I gave you an emphatically, no, I'm not coming. Why did I decline to come? Had nothing to do with my travel schedule. It had more to do with the last time, the way that Ms. Allison and myself was treated at a finance committee meeting where we were told that we couldn't talk. And matter of fact, the person that was chairing the meeting almost got one of the police officers fired because they spoke to, I'm
keep
getting
it on
back.
target.
Okay. But hey, I want to address these allegations because these were things that were said about me that's basically attacking my character. But I'll just keep it to the report and say this. The city doesn't have a deficit. We never had a deficit. And I don't know why I was promoted to be able to say that. If you look, we have 1.4 million is projected to be, well, no, 1.4 is what we have. 444 is what we're projecting. If anybody have any questions, I'm more than happy to be able to answer.
Thank you for introducing the general. Councilman London, any questions
No
for
question.
Mayor
No
Stewart?
question.
All right, Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Councilman President Spivey, giving you, this time my copier was functioning, and I did print out some of these and for everyone. And I would like to thank everyone for considering the budget adjustments that I pointed out and were made. But I still have 3 important general fund requests which concern the salaries of our police and firemen, as well as our retiree benefits. And there's also a couple of notations which I'll talk about on the other budgets. But this one, looking at the handouts that I gave the council members that were there, the 2 copies from Raymond James and then the other that we received from the bond, the whole package, it did say April 1st, and we did say April 1st. Okay, and I realize that this is as of March 31st, but the fact of the matter is you're going to make the payment. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that you're showing 0, which is not shown as an expenditure, and when you plug that in, and it is plugged in, as you can tell, the mayor did make that adjustment, and it is shown, it does make a difference in your bottom line. That's what that was about. Making sure that it's shown, because this is a document that you're providing to the folks that are involved with bonds. When we're talking about salaries, I do have a summary page, but it concerns salaries. There isn't adequate money in the budget for continuing to pay salaries over the next 6 months. It's very easy to figure that out. All you got to do is look at it. If you look at our police department, it's showing if you put that $300,000 adjustment, then they're going to be able to meet the salaries. They'll have 1,900,000. Right now, we've paid them 1,874,000. If you don't put the 300,000, there's not going to be enough to pay their salaries. Those are the concerns I had. And I've noted that there does need to be increases in salaries for our fire department, for our police department, also for our retirees. Are we only paying them 6 months and then they don't get anything else after 6 months? I think not. So far we've paid 111,502 after 6 months. But without having that $110,000 adjustment, they're not going to be able to pay them their retirees amounts over the next 6 months. Those are large numbers, and it's why I pointed those out. And again, I appreciate the mayor making the adjustments that I had brought out during the council meeting, our finance committee meeting. That did make a difference, making the adjustments that were made. I've noted the adjustments that he's made in red, and I've zeroed out the adjustments that I took off once I saw that he made them. If you look at our ad valorem taxes, he had $3 million. And I'm looking at the historical data here, and it's like, well, gee whiz, that should be another 300,000 in revenue. And it was shown in the information, the first document I gave you. The mayor has since increased that $300,000. So everything you see in red are adjustments that the mayor has made. The county 1 cent tax was shown as minus 104,000. And I'm just like, gee whiz, we collected 43,000. 43,000 has come in. That can't be a negative number. It did make sense. And so I had a positive 104. But since he's now removed the minus sign, and it's now a positive because it's a revenue fund, it's good. Those are good adjustments that the mayor, that we've had 2 more reports since that April 17th report.
Thank you. Oh, technical difficulty. God bless. That's what I wake up to every morning. It's pretty annoying. All right. Councilman Box, what say you?
Mayor, would you like to address any of these, I won't call them discrepancies, I'll call them differences of opinions or possibly differences of accounting practices with my time?
Are you yielding? Okay.
Yes. I believe that, at the end of the day, we all have our philosophy about how we like to develop a budget or a vision spending plan. One of the things I just heard a few minutes ago is that the $111,000 for the retirees, well, that was a one-time expense. And because it was only a one-time expense, then why would we record another $111,000 if we've already paid that and that it's already been satisfied? For the last several years, the way that we try to do the budget here, we try to be conservative on revenue, aggressive on expenses. Now, those 2 departments that have been discussed, the police department and the fire department, I believe that I'm the only one that have access to sit down to talk to them to know exactly what their salaries are going to look like. And after I had the conversation with Chief McDaniel, as well as Lee having her conversation with Chief Wiggins, they both verified that the amount that is currently in the budget is a sufficient amount for them to be able to proceed through the rest of the year. Because I know how we do it. We take what's been spent for the first 6 months, and then we say, oh, well, let's double that, because that's what's going to happen the next 6 months. But what happened the first 6 months is not guaranteed to happen the next 6 months. Maybe there was an individual in the first 6 months that retired and we had to pay them $100,000 in benefits. Doesn't mean that we're going to pay them $100,000 the next 6 months, so they are not there. I would say that when we're doing a budget, the best thing that we can do is put it in the proper context. The only way that you can put it in the proper context is talk to the people that has created. Now, I haven't received, and I don't think City Clerk Allison has received one email asking us questions about why we have those numbers, which means that if you don't ask the people who created it, the only thing that you can lead to is speculation. And sometimes speculation leads us to where we are erroneous when we create our own numbers.
Do you yield your time back to Councilman Box?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Box, you have 1 minute, 20 seconds.
I mean, guys, I look at bottom line numbers. What I'm seeing is the mayor's projecting $444,915. Councilwoman Quaylar is projecting a negative of $761,394. That leaves a difference of $296,479. I respect Councilwoman Quaylar's ability, her education. As I've said before, if I could afford to hire her, I would bring her to work in my company. But for municipal finance and for the day-to-day operation, I just simply see that I think the mayor has got his thumb on it more. Councilwoman Quaylar is using wonderful business practices, but so that boils right back down to me to just differences of accounting procedures. And I would give the mayor a higher percentage on accuracy of knowing what his department heads are saying. They know the day-to-day. This person is going to retire. We were going to hire this extra person, so we were projecting that, but that didn't work out. We're full staff, but we were able to get some other things. Once again, Councilman Quaylar, very much respect for you to try to look to this, but I just almost would have to say the mayor's appears to me more accurate.
Copy that.
Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
Our city clerk, our mayor, they're at City Hall in the trenches, I guess we'll say. They've had the discussions with the department heads that know what the departments are doing. And I trust that information is a lot more accurate than not having that information available. And I believe the mayor and city clerk know what they're doing when they're amending our budget. If the police chief and the fire chief said that we've got enough to keep paying our awesome employees the rest of the year in their departments, and I trust them, and that's where I'm at.
All right, fair enough. I do not have any additional comments. They would probably resemble what Councilman Sims and the closing comments of Councilman Box would have sounded like. All right, so
Can I continue? We do have a second round.
you
Am
are
I
allowed a
allowed
second
to?
round by the
Very
book.
good.
So if you would like to go ahead and take your
Yes.
final 2 minutes.
And here's the crux of the matter. Yes,
If we were gonna go around, yeah, then we
You
would
started
go
with
around.
Councilor Box
Sorry?
after she spoke.
I'm sorry.
We've already done 2 rounds.
Yeah, we've
we
already
haven't
had 2
done
rounds.
rounds. No, we haven't.
I presented first, everybody spoke.
Right.
Then you came back and went through the thing again.
No, we didn't.
Councilman
No, we
Box
didn't.
deferred
No, we
his
didn't.
time to me the second time.
No,
I deferred my time on the first time.
first time, sir.
We only have had. We only have. I wish we had a second
Yeah,
round,
we
but we
could
have
do
only
that.
had one round.
I wish.
I totally intend to defer
Yeah.
my time on the second round.
Well, if you defer your time to me on the second time, I'll appreciate it.
I only deferred on the first round. I'll
Okay.
defer the second.
My
We'll bring it
bad.
back around. Councilman London.
Yeah, so the question I have, and this was brought up, and I asked this question to Councilman Quaylar, and when she's talked, I'd like her to answer this question. All the information that she has, did she email that stuff to Lee and the mayor? And I think if she would have emailed all of the questions that she had, that she emailed it to us. Matter of fact, I wasn't at the council meeting. I mean, at the finance meeting. It should have been scheduled a day where we all could be there. It shouldn't be just about that quorum, because finance is important, so it should be a day that everybody should be there, and that we should make that happen. But we got she's emailed them to me, her adjustment. But I just want to ask her, did she email the people that makes the decision what she's passing out to us? Did she email all of this to the 2 people that can make the decision? And I think she could have got all the questions answered, and we wouldn't be feeling like we're held hostage tonight.
Fair enough. With that question being asked, is that the remainder of your time, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Councilwoman Quayle?
The response to that question is if the mayor and the city clerk had been present at our finance committee meeting, which is for the public, The public has a right to know where the city stands on its finances. I am a woman that believes in transparency. I do not go and email people. The public has a right to know what questions are you asking, Councilwoman Cuellar, because it concerns the city's finances. So that is my response to that. I will ask the questions in a public setting so that our citizens can know what questions are being asked. It's a question of transparency. It's a matter of accountability. And I am a woman that trusts, but I'm also one that verifies. Trust, but verify. And the only way that you can verify is when you have the people that have been involved in putting together the budget to respond to your questions in a public setting so that everyone can hear the questions and the responses. Again, I do have concerns. When you're talking about the salaries of our employees, I want to make sure that we are going to have those funds available. While we may have one, there are other officers and employees that are being hired. I appreciate knowing about the one-time payment. Had they been present, that matter would have been resolved. But again, I do appreciate the adjustments that the mayor has made after he saw what my concerns were. Those are good adjustments. I'm very grateful that you made them, sir.
I didn't see
But-
your concerns because you didn't send it to me.
You made them. They were the amounts that I had recommended adjustments, and they were made. So I am very grateful for that. But we do need to have the mayor and city clerk present when we have our finance committee meetings. We need to do that. And when we can do that, then the public gets to
Thank you,
hear
ma'am.
everything.
Councilman Box.
Mr. Mayor, I need 20 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
Father
I'll take
God,
the other two.
I don't know what to do about this, Lord, because we got two of your children that I'm asking you to speak to them, Lord. Speak directly to their hearts for reconciliation so that we can discontinue this type of issue just because we have small differences of opinion. Thank you, Mayor. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, amen. As I stated earlier, there's nothing wrong with having philosophical differences. I mean, everybody doesn't do everything the same way, but it doesn't mean that we can't get to the same place to be able to get the correct answer. Now, one of the things that I want to clear up, I didn't make the adjustments based on your comments because you just stated you didn't send it to us because you do everything in public and you want everything to be transparent. Going forward, I have no problem meeting with people and having a discussion about transparency. But the thing that I will address, and this is in the budget, because I don't have it, I'm only going to speculate based on what I've heard. Now, the thing that I've heard is that grant money is not revenue, and that you can't count grant money because it may be taken away by the federal government. But if you know anything about municipal accounting, any money that comes through a municipality has to be recorded in the fiscal year that it was received. You may not get it the next year, but it doesn't mean that you don't record it. So it's careless to go and to reduce the funding for the grants because everything that we put on the grant line is money that we know that we're going to get. $300,000 is coming back from ADEM because we got the recycling grant. $600,000 is coming back in state grants because we paid for the sidewalks and we're now getting reimbursed. The $700,000 that was increased on the federal line has to do with the grant that we have or will receive from the federal government to be able to pave Grants Mill Road. If those things were deducted, they were deducted erroneously. And if you all don't believe my word,
Thank you, sir.
the CPAs are here for the city. or
Thank you, sir.
Was here. Okay.
All right. Let's see here. That was Councilman Box's time. Councilman Sims, what say you?
Well, unless I missed something, I have not heard Councilor Cuellar ask in public any questions to the city clerk or the mayor. We heard about waiting to ask questions in a public meeting, but I heard no questions asked. So I don't know that we got any resolve there. But
I did. I mentioned salaries. Those
I
questions.
didn't hear a question.
It was
You stated
resolved.
your opinion on a
Explanations were
salary.
given.
It's
It's
my
not a
comment.
back and forth. This is a comment from Councilman Sims.
Let's go to the next budget.
Thank you. I'm done. Moving on to item number 13, resolve that resolution 2025 R80 approves the FY 2024-25 capital funds budget adjustments. Mayor Stewart, item 13.
Okay. If we look at the capital fund budget here, we will see that there is, we did some corrections by removing the $15 million for the admin building. We actually moved that because that's up under the PBA. We also moved the, well, we didn't move it, but for the fire department, that is the fees there for the fire department, parks, public works, basically the civic center, the $18 million was moved out of the budget, and that will go to the PBA since we are leasing it and we'll only make a lease payment. Those were the adjustments that were made for the capital fund. Anybody have any questions? I'll be happy to answer them.
Councilman London?
No question.
No questions? Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, Council President Spivey, I've handed you out what the mayor moved into the capital fund. And I've given you handouts from the Alabama League of Municipalities in regard to the Alabama rebuild. I mentioned at the Finance Committee meeting that we did not receive that information from our city clerk. And I noted that that needs to be kept separately from all other budgets. It needs to be its own budget. You cannot commingle it with a capital fund. You cannot commingle it with a general fund. And if you look at the handout there, it tells you very clearly the Alabama Rebuild Act, the 10-cent gasoline tax, cannot be commingled. It cannot be used for projects that do not pertain to the purposes that it designates it can be used for. You now have it. I have stated this last year when we were working on the budget. I stated that we've got to have its own separate budget. You cannot put it anywhere else. And it is shown on the capital, and I'm zeroing that amount out. You'll note that in red where it's being zeroed out because it cannot be on the capital budget. It needs to stay in its own separate budget.
I don't see that on the capital budget unless I'm looking at the wrong budget. I know that Rebuild Alabama is in Fund
Yeah, it has
47.
AL Trust Fund earnings are 130.
That
That
is-
is the amount for Alabama Rebuild.
I hate to share this with you, but that's not the rebuild money that comes into the city. That's the actual money that comes into the city annually from the state to be able to do capital improvements. Rebuild Alabama is in Fund 47. It's not in there. So what you're looking at, that is incorrect.
Okay, and see, this is why it's important that you be present, because when I looked at, hold on, let me finish. When I looked at the previous AL rebuild, this expense code, 43,
Council President.
350, 3395.
Point of order, Council
One
President.
second.
Can
Councilwoman
we please
Quayle.
call the gallery to order?
Yep, absolutely. I'm hearing, hey, Bob.
We got a gentleman over here that
Bob.
needs to be seated.
Mr. Phillips.
He doesn't hear well. Somebody
Okay.
could let him know. Mr. Phillips, would you please take your chair, sir? We're still in
Thank
the
you.
meeting and your discussions are disruptive.
Right.
Also, on Council President's behalf, outbursts don't help the situation, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we got disagreements, but let's work through them. Let's be respectful. Outbursts don't help anything. Thank you, Council President. I
Thank you,
appreciate that
Councilman
point of order.
Box. Councilwoman Quayle, you've got your
I can
minute
continue.
20 back on the
That-
clock.
That expense code 104350 33590 was shown as underneath the rebuild, but not the 10. It had a different number preceding it, but it was 4350 33590. And so with that in mind, when I saw that, I said, no, it cannot be moved. It needs to remain with Alabama Rebuild. I can get you that documentation where it was shown there. It could have been shown there erroneously. I had no way of knowing that. Had they been present to respond to those questions, these matters wouldn't have even come up. Those are my comments.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Well, I mean, the latest iteration of what I see of Rebid, Alabama does not contain what Councilwoman Quaylar is showing on it. So while I would agree that it is completely unfortunate that we can't have a meeting of all the minds here, I would still say the latest iteration of I have would have to supersede Councilwoman Quaylar's projections. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I have no questions.
Nor do I. Are we free to move on?
The mayor needs to get the balance of my time. Well, no, that's right. He had the balance of my time a moment ago.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Item number 14, resolve the resolution 2025 R81 approves the FY 2024-25 water system budget adjustment. Mayor Stewart?
Okay, if we look in the column of 2025, you'll see that the year to date is a projected negative of $760,000. A lot of this has to do with the equipment. Was the $750,000 that we put in the new system out there that temporarily deals with handling the PFAS, which that was a unprojected expense, and then the adjustments are made because we're getting ready to spend another $750,000 at the Golden Rule exit. You all approved both of those items there, and I would say that's what the major difference is in the water department's budget.
Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes, the only comments I have on that is there's various color coding that I've shown to you. That lavender type color is just something to bring to your attention. If you notice on page 1 where it says equipment rental, we have a minus 823 in our fiscal activity, and it could be a credit. I did not make adjustments to it. I'm simply highlighting it for you so that you can see it. And I also noted the yellow that you see on there. These were additions that were made to the budget that was approved. So the yellow that you see is to help you to see which ones were added. And that was looking at the budget that was approved on September of 24. Anything you see in yellow is added. Anything you see in lavender it's saying, pay attention to this. This is kind of a negative in fiscal activity. You may want to take a look at that. Those are my comments in regards to the water budget.
Thank you.
Letting you know what the color coding stands.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Once again, thanks for your research, but I think the mayor's explained it to my understanding for why we had to put some more money in there.
Understood. Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Myself, no questions. I would say my comments echo Councilman Box in regards to, we knew that some of those funds were going to be coming out of reserve, so it's not surprising to see a deficit. All right. Item number 15, resolve that resolution 2025 R82 approves the FY 24-25 E911 fund budget adjustment. Mayor Stewart?
Okay, we look at the E911 budget. We'll see that the year-to-date activity is a negative 327, 799, 15. If you go over to the adjustments that have been made, I'm trying to see exactly where the most significant adjustment is there. Salaries is the increase in salaries over time. You then will see there's a big adjustment in communications expense that may be for additional equipment. I have to review that line item. That may need to be switched to their capital instead of being included in their operational budget. Everything else seems to be pretty, in line. E91 is not self-sustaining, although we do receive revenue for that. The city also is responsible for making sure that it meets its it meets its budget requirements as well. But I feel comfortable with the numbers that we have so far.
Okay, Councilman Lennon,
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
On E911, just noted the yellow, and if you look at the bottom, community events, we had no money budgeted that we approved. The mayor made $8,000 adjustments. And so far, this is our dispatch department. Community events, so far it's $488.59 that we spent. And I'm wondering, why do we have so much money for community events when E911, they're answering phone calls? Why do we have $8,000 budgeted?
Because E911 does more than just answer phone calls. They have an educational program that they promoted throughout the city, and they also go to the schools annually and provide educational information to the kids. So the E911 does do outreach in the community. And this money that they set aside is to be able to do that outreach and fulfill their mission that is in line with building the future, building community, building the future. So they do, at the end of the day, they do outreach themselves.
Okay, and then just to follow up, if you look at the numbers for salaries and overtime, they're shown in red. Are we, when you look at the remaining funds that we'll have left, when you subtract the 59,000, it comes out to 286. So far, we paid our employees in E911 282,000. But it's 59,000 overstated. Is there a reason for that? Are we planning to hire someone else?
We do have an additional position that is being added. We're having a kind of like a department head to be the director over the E911. That's the additional position that will be there. We still will keep all of the other positions, but there will be a position that is over the entire group there.
Okay, what was the reason that we took them? In talking with other council members who have E911, they have always been under the police department, and they also work with the fire department. And I just don't understand, why did we have to move and create a separate department? I mean, this is costly.
Well,
628,000 when it was 529 that we approved.
Well,
That's a lot of money.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that this department has always been here. If you look at Fund 20, they've always been in Fund 20. So this is not a new department. Why do we create the new department? Because we are built different. Keep trying to tell you, we don't do everything just like everybody else. And it's important. The second thing I would like to say, there are not even a lot of cities that's left that even have E911 because they've either contracted out to Jefferson County, St. Clair County, which means I don't know what other cities you're talking about that has the same thing that we have here. But the reason that they were moved is because E911 works for the police department and they work for the fire department. The way that we had it set up here, the police department was pretty much supervising and dictating to what happened in E911. The reason that we separated them to be able to give them their independence to serve both departments equally by not being supervised by one department that's basically was telling them what to do.
I have no further comments.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
So the only question I have, Mayor, is you are looking to place a director of E911 or
Yes.
E911 supervisor or something like that?
Yeah, it's director.
Do you know when that position will advertise?
We had to go through the personnel board to be able to create the job description. We've been able to create the job description, and I think it went out under the personnel board a couple of Sundays ago. Thank you. It'll close on May 9th.
Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I have no questions.
And I have no questions as well. All right. Let's see here, that's E911. On to item number 16, resolve the resolution 2024 R83 approves the FY 24-25 court fund budget adjustment. Mayor Stewart?
Okay, court, let me see, that's gas tax there. Courts, oh. Okay, courts has its separate fund. And the city also, a lot of times people think, and I'm just trying to put it in proper context, for everybody, so tell me if I'm being long-winded or not. But for courts, a lot of the revenue that's collected from courts goes to other places. It either goes to the state or it goes to Jefferson County, which means that a court is not self-sustaining. And the city has always funded and been able to provide support for the courts. And we will basically, what we do is that we will, there is a new fund that we have that is a judicial fund. That revenue is not included in what you see here, but we will use some of the funds from that account, which I think has about $316,000 in it, to be able to supplement the courts to make sure that their budget balanced to zero.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Lennon?
No question, but I just want to, I think Councilman Quaylar owes our E911 people an apology for stating that they only just answer the phone. I think that's very impolite and very disrespectful. So I hope she would recant her statement and apologize to them, but no comment on this one.
Thank you.
I
Councilwoman
will
Quayle?
respond to that. I did not say that's all they did. I said, isn't that what E911 does, is they're answering phones. I did not claim that that's all they did. I asked a question. There's a difference between asking a question and making a statement. I asked a question to get clarity. That's what these finance committee meetings and council meetings are about.
No apology.
Do you have any further questions or comments?
No further questions.
All right, Councilman Box?
Okay, so that I don't get sidetracked, I'm 184 years old. We were talking about the court fund, and then we drifted into the E911 fund again because of alleged.
We did, and that's my fault for
okay.
allowing it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So on the
A little
court
blurred
fund,
on the budgets, which one we're in and which one we're not in.
Thanks, sir. So, I mean, it is right that our court funds are not completely self-sustaining. It's also right that our court funds adjudicate results for lawbreakers or municipal code breakers that represent the hard work that our police department does or other civil things. So with that budget has to just be what it is.
Fair enough. Councilman Sims?
No questions on the court fund.
And I have no questions on the court form. I respect your comments, Councilman Box, regarding. All right, that is court. 17, resolve the resolution 2025 R84 approves the FY 2024-25 7-cent gas fund budget adjustment. Mayor?
This is the fund that can only be used for certain road items, but we have 4 of them, 4, 5, let me see, 4 and 5, 7, no, we have 3, and 10. 10 is Rebuild Alabama. We should get to that in a few seconds, but as you can see that we have, the reason that we have we changed the amount there because I want to say, what was it, April the 9th? We had the meeting that talked about the roads that were going to be paved and the work that were going to be at the parks. And the reason that the $2.5 million is there is because we are projecting the bids that will come back to be able to do the road work that we talked about in the town hall meeting that will fall within that range.
Councilman Lennon?
No question.
Councilwoman Quayle?
No questions, no comments.
All right. Councilman Box?
Great explanation of that fund. Thank you, sir.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions as well. All right, item number 18, resolve that resolution 2025 approves the FY 24-25 4 and 5 cent gas fund budget adjustment. Mayor?
4 and 5 is basically the same thing, but we also will do street repairs out of this fund here as well. but it can only be used for the road work.
Councilman London,
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes, Council President Spivey, the only thing that I showed on this here is just minor. And that was when we received the 27 on April 17th from the mayor, his adjustments. It was showing that bank service charges at 0. I went ahead and made an adjustment for $50 because we had activity of $36 and bank service charges are year round. I'm happy to see that he now has adjusted it and is showing it as $100, and that's why you now see mine as 0. Those are the only comments I have to make there.
Thank you. Councilman Box,
No, thank you for the information, Council President.
Councilman Sims,
No questions.
and myself, no questions. Moving on to item number 19, resolve that resolution 2025 R86 approves the FY 24-25 Rebuild Alabama Fund budget adjustment. Mayor Stewart.
This is the fund that when we were talking about the capital fund that was mixed up with the Alabama capital fund. And as you can see, this is Fund 47, Rebuild Alabama, and this is a fund that is all by itself.
Fair enough. Councilman London,
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes, on that, you will notice that it's shown in red because it was a minus when the mayor submitted it, and I had put 130,000 because it needs to be there. And I'm happy to see that the mayor has made that adjustment to 130. That's why it's shown in red, and I have since zeroed out my adjustment.
Councilman Box,
Once again, moving on. Thank you.
Councilman Sims.
Next.
All right. Myself, same. Item number 20, resolve the resolution 2025 R87 accepts the audit for FY 23 and 24. Mayor Stewart, I understand we also have some guests in the room.
Yes, we do. We have Jake that is here from our wonderful CPA that handles our audit. The joke around City Hall is we call him Jake from State Farm. If you look at him, very young but I just invited Jake to be able to come and allow him to be able to share with you all what he identified in the audit for 23-24.
Thank you, City Council, for having me, and for everyone for your engagement. I'm so impressed with not only how many people here, but how many people have stayed. 'Cause I'm sure you want to hear me go over this 100-page audit, and that's what's keeping everyone here. But I know
Point of order, Council President Spivey.
Yes.
We had originally scheduled a work session to have our auditor present. We didn't receive the audit in time, and we didn't receive your audit, sir, until this past Friday. And as you can tell, we've got a mountain of items on our agenda. I had requested that we postpone your visit and your report to us so that we could have you come when we were not under time constraints to give your report and give us the opportunity to look at your report and ask any questions in a public setting. And I'm wondering why do we have him here when we're going to need to have him come back so that we can have an opportunity to look at the report that he submitted. It's 94 pages. It's a lot of material to look at.
Jake, please don't remove yourself from the podium.
Can I answer that?
Please.
We love to quote Alabama state law. If we know Alabama state law, we know that the auditor is appointed by the mayor and reports to the mayor, which means the mayor determines when the auditor comes and give their report. And I determined that I wanted him to come to the council meeting tonight so that we can make sure we do it in a public forum so we wouldn't be uncharitable and that we're showing that we are very transparent to be able to get the information out. Now, at the end of the day, Jake will tell you this. When the mayor signs the management letter for the audit, it doesn't matter if you all agree with it or not. It becomes an official document, and that's the end of it. But he's here tonight. If you all want him to be able to address your questions, I think you better ask him tonight, because if You don't get him tonight, you probably won't get a work session where he will be coming to discuss it when we are in a public forum to do it tonight.
So what I will add to this exchange is, I'm not going to disrespect you in regards to the fact that you are here and you've already spent this time with us this evening, to say whatever is on your mind at this time. So, regardless of what happens to this item when it's introduced on the agenda, I'm still very interested in what you have to say. Please continue.
Thank you. And I will try to keep this brief because I know we went pretty long tonight, but I do want to hit a few high points. So that being said, like it, Councilwoman pointed out, it's 94 pages, so I'm going to try to hit like 10 pretty high points. But Lee has my contact information for any follow-up questions. I'll be happy to answer those. But before I dive in, I do just want to thank y'all not only for the opportunity to be your auditor, but also for Lee's effort in helping us get the audit out as smoothly as possible. And not only Lee, but all of the city department heads. I mean, I'm probably emailing every person who's a department head when I'm out here and visiting them, and we always get quick responses and are very, they really do a good job to help me get this out as quickly as possible. So, biggest point is I'm happy to report that we have an unmodified opinion, which in accounting lingo is just the highest quality audit that we can issue. So that's what you want, and it just says that in all material aspects, the financials are accurate and fairly stated. So that's what you want, and like I said, I'm happy to report that. If you do have a copy, I will reference some page numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to page 18 and 19, which is where we're looking at the statement of net position, and this is just accounting lingo for your for-profit balance sheet. So on page 19, I'm happy to report that our net position for the entire city, which includes water, is $20 million. So what that means is our assets are greater than our liabilities by $20 million as of 9/30/24. So obviously, anytime you have a positive net position, that's great, but to have $20 million was an increase. Last year, it was about 19 million, so it did go up just a little bit, but that's the way you want to see it trend. And then I'm going to keep going, like I said, try to get through this as quickly as possible. Looking at page 20 and 21, which is your government-wide statement of activities. This is your profit and loss statement, again, for the entire city government. You'll notice there's a government activities column where it takes the charges that you can pass on to or that are passed on to citizens, and it reduces shows the expenses for those. So that was what we would call a negative 27 million, which, just to put that in perspective, that's just saying without taxes, how would we operate? So without any tax income, the city is at a loss, which that is the standard. No one ever would be able to function without their tax revenue. But I point that out because it was a improvement. Last year, it was a negative of $29 million. So we had a $2 million improvement on our expenses for what were covered by our services. And then to look at 21, big picture is our sales and use tax are up $1 million. Property tax is up $2 million because of the higher rates for 24. And overall, our net position, again, income across this government was a positive net income of $900,000. In perspective, for the 2023 audit, it was a loss of $1.6 million. So substantial swing to the good. And then I'll just point out again, as you're looking through the audit, things that might be a little different. So we've added, you can see on page 22, we added the Public Building Authority. So that's what's called a blended component unit, which is just fancy words of saying, even though it's a separate legal entity, because the city council appoints the board and the whole purpose of that entity is to serve the city, it still gets recorded on the city's audit. So you'll see that throughout. And then I would jump to, again, page 22, which is your fund financial statements. And that's just showing that for each individual fund, we are also at a net positive position. So government-wide, looking at everything, and fund financials all had net income, positive net income. And there is a difference between your fund and your government-wide. So, and there's a reconciliation if you want to see what makes that difference in there. So the only other thing I want to point out income-wise is on page 29, we have a separate income statement for water. So overall, water did have a net loss, but what's important to know is that that was due to transfers, and if you did not, which was just transferring money from water back to the general fund. So if you didn't in fact factor in those transfers, water did sustain itself. It had a $200,000 positive income. So, and I know that the city is in the midst of a rate study, so they'll factor that in as needed. The last few things, again, that I want to point out, and I won't read them in detail, but on page 45, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the notes. Starting on page 45 through pages 52-ish, you're going to have your capital asset schedule and your debt schedule. So that's going to show, what new debt was acquired, what capital assets did we use to acquire with that debt. It will also give you, if you need to have questions about payment schedules, it breaks out how far out we have existing debt and what the payments look like on that debt. And then the last two things, and I will go for any questions, are I just wanted to point out that, again, jumping a pretty big jump because the notes are quite substantial. If you jump to page 87, so this is what we have our combining schedules. And I just did want to note that this year we did transfer over Rebid Alabama funds, as the mayor pointed out, and it's set up as a separate fund now. So that is being tracked, and that was added to the consolidated schedule. And then also any opioid money that we are coming in from the settlement is also a separate. Last thing I'll point, and it's just that on the final few pages, there is a compliance letter that lays out some things in there. So make sure you read that. And then there's also a management letter that you should have gotten a copy of that has some information in there. Happy to go over any of that in detail, but did not want to dive into too much details just in the sake of time.
Councilman London, anything to say to the gentleman?
I know. So just overall opinion, you gave us some high points. See it right now. Okay, we're good.
I would say that the audit opinion says that y'all are the best that you can be, and the financial support that there was net income across the city's financials.
Councilwoman Cuero?
I'm happy that the Alabama rebuild that I've been talking about needed to be kept in its separate account. You've identified that. You also identified in the previous audit that we should be concerned about the variances, which I have been talking about for 2 or 3 years now. You got to watch your variances because they do impact your bottom line, and you need to get those in order. You said a management report. Okay, can't really talk about that one, right? We'll have to look at it and.
I mean, I'm happy to answer questions. It is generally for city council and management specific, but I'm happy. I mean, I'm not trying to make it a secret. I just didn't want to dive into it in the details, but I'm happy to go over any questions you have.
Okay, because I know on the very back of the audit, it's kind of a summary of the management report. Was there anything in the back that we needed to be mindful of?
So the back will address, so we have two things. So you can have a comment. So a comment would be something that we would note potential improvement for, but doesn't rise to the level of what we would call a finding. So your management letter may have a lot more comments because they're not required to go into the audit. So the audit did identify two what we would call findings, which are things that are significant enough or required material adjustments that they needed to be made a comment, not only so that everyone can be alerted for the improvement, but in the event that there's ever a material misstatement, that we have alerted you to the possibility. Now, I want to be very clear. There were no material misstatements discovered. Obviously, if there were, we would not have issued a clean opinion. We're just telling you that the possibility does exist.
So we'll need to address those matters if they haven't been. try
Yes,
to
so
work a way
they're
to-
provided to you in the management letter and in the audit so that you have the opportunity to address those. And I believe that some of those, especially the comments, are in the process of being addressed already.
Very good, thank you. I look forward to reading the report.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. So I want to understand this is a draft audit. It doesn't become finalized until we approve it tonight, or if it doesn't get approved tonight, we take a look at it for later. Knowing that we're going to get some questions anyway, what would be the possibility of yielding my time to the public for questions now that he could answer while we're right here?
I'll let it go. 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Please, does anybody have a question for the gentleman?
So you're hired by the mayor, you're sure,
Correct.
and so you answer only to him.
We answer to the mayor in terms of performance, but our audit is to audit the city. So the city is our client, but the mayor, by Alabama law, is the person who can determine who the auditor is and is responsible for their hiring, firing, that type of situation.
So you only answer to me.
I'm not
Is
sure.
that a question about the audit?
So
Is that a
let's
question
keep
about
it
the
with
audit?
the audit, Ms.
Well,
Judy.
I'll just say this. I'm not allowed to do anything that is not in the interest of the public good. My professional standards would require, if the mayor asked me, which again, to be very clear, has never been asked, and I don't think would ever be asked, or we would not be willing to be your auditor. We don't want to do business with someone we think is unethical. But if that was ever a question, then we would not do that, and we would probably resign. That's generally what the professional standards say. So everything that we do is according to what our professional standards require.
So, Council President, we're claiming my time on this now because it
Thank you.
appears there was only one person that wanted to ask a question. Hopefully, we won't see on Facebook that nobody got to ask a question because I purposefully asked that we could do this. And one person wrote asked a question. That question was addressed in a very professional manner. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the encouragement of how our mayor is acting appropriately. So now that my time is done, I'll pass it on to you. Thank you, sir.
I'm
I
sorry.
think it was asking.
I didn't say you didn't ask in a professional manner. I said he addressed it in a professional manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Judy.
I did just want to clarify the councilor's position. So I think Mayor Stewart alluded to it earlier. So if the council
Point
does
of order, please.
not approve,
I think we can get through this. Let's
if the
keep it going,
council,
Jay.
if the council does not approve the audit, the mayor can sign the letter tomorrow and it will be issued.
Thank you.
The council approval is not required for audit issuance.
Thank you, Council President. That's all.
Councilman Sims.
Thank you for coming out and sitting through all this. No, I looked over the audit. I had time, and with all the other stuff. But I just want to hit some of the financial highlights that are in here for the public. Let's see. The city's assets and deferred outflows of resources exceeded its liabilities and deferred inflows of resources at the close of the fiscal year by $20.1 million. So that's positive. Solid financial position for the city. It issued debt to be used for significant infrastructure and capital improvements within the city. The city also maintains a strong bond rating of AA from Standard & Poor's, so that's good. At the close of the fiscal year, the city and water's fund assets and deferred outflows of resources exceeded its liabilities and deferred inflows by $6.5 million. So a nice cushion for the water department. Public protection expenses comprise 47.4% of the total government expenses. So public safety is a lot of our expenses. And the last one will be total government revenues increased by 5.6% from 2023. So revenues up, also good for the city. So thank you for that information. And I don't have any other questions.
Fair enough. Thank you very much for your time, Jake. I appreciate you. And thank you for that last point of clarification. All right. Let's see here. All right, item number 21, we have already heard from our candidates, so there's no need for further deliberation there. We're going to go ahead and move on to item number 22.
May I ask one question on that one?
Sure.
Are we separating those appointments, or is someone supposed to just name two names?
So it's to your point, fair question procedurally. It's one resolution with two items inside of it. Both items are the exact same. Let's see here, appoint for a 3-year term as a super member. God bless. Member, I got it now. Of the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the City of Irondale, which shall expire on midnight 01 a.m. on the 6th day of May 28th. So both positions are identical, but to your point, two names would need to be introduced when that is moved. So I nominate XYZ and ABC to be the new members. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 22, resolve that resolution 2025 R89 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with Cadre Engineering LLC in an amount not to exceed $22,700 for civil engineering professional services related to the pre-construction and construction of Irondale Fire Station number 3. Chief McDaniel, is there anything you would like to say about this item?
We have Kelton here from the project management team, but this is in relation to the Birmingham Waterworks main. We've got to have a main that connects into the fire station property because of the water demand. So this has to do with the engineering for that. Am I correct on that?
Okay. Councilman Lennon, any questions for Chief? No question. Councilwoman Cuellar?
The only question I had is I noticed that you've got locations in 3 different areas, Birmingham being one, Auburn, and I forget where the third one was, Orange Beach. The work that's done, it's going to be coming out of your Birmingham office. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Matter of fact, their office is in Irondale. Where right off of Derby Parkway, where the guys built the thing similar to the Microflex.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that owns that. They came in here for us to build it. That's where his office is.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Councilman Box?
No, that's great. Good to know, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
Keep it local. I like it. Thank you very much. Let's see here. This is item number 22. I'm just going to go on through it. Item number 23, resolve the resolution 2025 R90 authorizes the purchase of 20 outdoor slatted steel trash cans from Global Equipment Company, Inc., DBA Global Industrial, for use at the Ruffner Park Sports Complex in an amount not to exceed $13,511. Mr. Blankenship, what say you on this item, sir?
Looking to purchase 20 trash receptacles for the ballpark. Continual upgrade, and they are a matching of the ones out front as well as the ones at the tall park.
Thank you. Councilman Lennon?
You must have a lot of hot dogs and chicken feet eating over there or something. Something going on.
Plenty of garbage as well.
Plenty of garbage. Thank you.
Councilwoman Claire?
The only thing I ask is this budgeted and what's the source? That's all.
Okay.
Councilman.
Mayor, do you have a question around budget or source?
Well, it's unbudgeted, but the source would be the general fund.
Fair enough. Councilman Box?
No questions.
All right. Councilman Sims?
Will we be able to put this on consent or no?
It's not budgeted.
It's not budgeted.
Okay.
It
Not
has a
budgeted.
funding source.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
I
no
just-
questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. All right. Let's see here. That's the trash cans. All right, cool. Item number 24, resolve that resolution 2025 R91 establishes that the electronic vote counting devices used by Jefferson County, Alabama will be used by the city of Irondale, Alabama for the municipal election on August 26th of 2025 for all subsequent municipal elections. Miss Lee Allison, your name is by this. Is there anything that you need to say? I know that you've been trained up on certified on this. Okay. Councilman London, any questions? Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions, but a comment. Is this one that can be moved up to consent if we all agree?
I mean, I'm fine with it. There's probably a few that we've gone through that probably could have been moved to consent. I've just decided to kind of leave them there. Oh, that's right. Ordinance process on this one. It's a resolution, but ordinance process, so no.
Okay.
Councilman Box?
That asks my question.
All right. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
All right. And myself, no questions. I had that right there. Okay. All right. Item number 25, resolve that resolution 2025 R92 authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to execute an agreement with CCE Consulting Construction Engineering in an amount not to exceed $8,120 even for professional electrical engineering services for 2 new gateway projects. Mayor Stewart?
Okay. We have Mr. Robin Gregory that's with us from Gonzalez Strength. I'm gonna just ask him if he would come to the front because the next 4 belongs to him.
I was about to say
And
thank
he
you for
can
that.
give you all more in depth on why we have these resolutions out here tonight.
All right.
Take it away, Rob.
Council, thank you. I'm Robin Gregory. I'm a landscape architect with Gonzalez Strength and Associates. And this first item is related to electrical engineering design work associated with the new gateway projects that we're working with. So this is for 2 different projects, and this will be all about the roundabout. Any questions on the particular one?
Councilman Lennon, any questions for the gentleman specifically about this item?
No. Thank you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions for the gentleman, but I did get a lot of calls, comments from residents, not towards you, sir, but just in regard to the roundabout and what's planned there.
Councilman
And I'll
Box?
get that during our deliberation.
Okay. Councilman Box?
No, the 2 projects, you said the roundabout, are you at liberty to say where the other project is?
Yes, it's this is in Blueprint Irondale. One of the things was about improving the gateways at the city. So the first gateway is on 16th Street, coming into the city up under the bridge. We have a rendering or whatever that we'll present once it's completed to be able to spruce up that gateway. It's very nice. And then the second gateway is would it be the roundabout or would it be off of exit 27? Which one? So this is the roundabout. We actually got 3. We got 16th Street, roundabout, and then exit 27. Those are the first 3 gateways that we've started to work on and to spruce up and to make the city look beautiful.
Thank you, Mayor. No further questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions. Thank you.
And I have some no questions. Is there any of the other following 3 items you'd like to discuss?
I can touch on all 3 of them.
Yeah,
be
go
great.
ahead, Robin. Just hit all 3 of them.
The next one, this has to do with gateway treatment on 3 different, we're taking the IB that we've got, go for that, and looking at the possibility of utilizing that in a couple different locations. And so we're looking at possibility maybe that could be used. We're going to identify 5 different locations, and out of those 5, we're going to pick 3 with the mayor and look at 3 different locations that will develop the construction documents to implement those.
And that is, I believe that's resolution R93 regarding the $34,500 in professional services for the development of 3 miniature gateway monuments.
That's right.
Okay.
Number 27, this has to do with work associated with doing the roundabout, doing the water feature that's going to be there, and also some of the artwork that's going to be associated with that.
And I'll speak to that one. My statue won't be in the middle of the roundabout. I mean, I know you all are disappointed, but that was a joke. I had nothing to do with that. We plan on putting the I-beam in the middle, right, Robin? We want to make sure we get it straight. Mayor Stewart is not getting a statue going in the middle of the roundabout around the pond. Not at this point, but it's going to be a 6-foot I-beam. Is that what we're working with, Robin? 12-foot I-beam that's going to go there. So I hate to break you all's heart, but.
And this is R94 for the 23.5 for professional services for the development of gateway monument and the roundabout, including fountain and water feature elements.
Yes, and
Okay.
also, Council President, this is working with another group, Chip, Trey, Chip's wife, because theirs also has a Cahaba Lily component
Yes.
that's to it, and Robin and that group is going to kind of get together and put something together and then kind of bring it back to the city for you all to decide if you want to put it there or not.
Nice. No, you're perfect.
The last one here, aquatic work required for the water feature as part of this roundabout. So this ties back to the Cahaba-Lily and trying to implement that as part of that overall gateway to beautify that roundabout area.
And that would be R95, agreement with Landmark Aquatic in an amount not to exceed $14,750 for the aquatic design services for the new gateway to be located at the roundabout at Grants Mill Road and Old Leeds Road.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. I know we kind of went through one and then we sped through three. Councilman London, any questions for the gentleman?
No question.
Councilwoman
Yeah,
Cuellar?
just some comments where you talk about in your one of the contracts. Let's see, we have 93. It talks about having 3 sites with 3 gateway monuments. That you would like to have these. And later, we talk about phase 1, and we have the clients, and it has Mayor Stewart in parentheses. Really, the council needs to be part of all of these discussions because we're the ones that are going to have to pay for it. And I would like us to know what it is that see the design, see what it is that you're saying, and see what the costs are, and see what some alternative ways that you can work with it.
Sure.
And I would like us to be a part of this and to have you come and show us what is it that you're wanting to do. Because I'm not comfortable with just rubber stamping and paying for a bill when I don't even know what's behind it, what it's going to entail. We have to have those answers. We have to have that information. So anything that you can do to help us with this, the council needs to be involved in these discussions.
Okay.
Does that conclude your comments?
That's it with all of them, because all of these are coming up with designs, and I'm just wanting to reiterate, the council needs to be involved in all of these designs that you're coming up with so that we know what it's going to cost. All these are just engineering, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to know how much do you estimate that all of this is going to cost, because you're going to have to bid it out. And there's more costs that's involved than just this here. We already have a $112,000 contract that we have with you for the designs that went on with the auto mall and that work. And now we're amending that for $23,500. But there's going to be bids. They're going to have to order equipment, especially with a fountain. I mean, I totaled these out, and that's $80,920 so far. But when we bid all of this out, it's going to be really much more expensive. And this is why I'm saying we need to know, what are the costs, what are the designs, what are you planning to do, so that we can make those decisions that are informed decisions, not just, well, we approved this, and so I guess we got to go with it. That's not how we operate.
Yeah, part of the process would be going through the cost estimate as a part of this and designing this. So this is the part for the design work of it, and then we would.
Point of order, please. Council President Spivey, is there a way that we can close that door?
I don't know if it has.
Well, that behavior there's just all kinds of activity.
There's sometimes people have to cough. So, and interrupting the speaker mid-speak, I think it's
I was trying
way
to
bigger
watch
foul
him,
ball.
and I didn't know if she was. I apologize, sir.
No problem.
Thank you.
If you would be so kind as to pick up where you left off.
Well, I'm sorry. I was just saying that the proposal that we're bringing to tonight is to do the design work, and part of that would be coming up with the images and then also the cost estimate to implement it and do the construction documents as a part of that. So we have to work through that process and be able to come up with a budget of what we think that's going to be.
Right, I'm saying if you can please show us these designs so that we know what it is that we're gonna be doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Box?
Thank you, Council President. I mean, Councilman Crowder makes good points, but I think I've not seen a time when the mayor didn't bring plans to us when the time came for 1, 2. So there may have been a few times where it was a single option. This was, kind of we looked at, but that is your intent, Mr. Mayor, isn't it, to bring all designs to us?
I believe
That's been the track record, is what I'll say, and that's all.
yes, I believe that from Dog Park to Ruffner Park to library, we've always brought all the designs, but you can't get something to give feedback on if you don't have anything to work with. And these resolutions tonight is to be able to give you something to look at, to be able to work with, to give comments on, to determine all those other things that Councilwoman Cuellar mentioned in her time allotted to speak on the issue.
Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Sims?
Thank you for everything. Thanks for all your explanations. I don't think we've been asked to approve any mystery box items before, so I don't see why we're not going to get renderings for any of this and have input when it comes time, as was just addressed. I guess my one question is, should all this get approved tonight? What kind of time frame does it look like to start creating these plans?
I would imagine it's going to take us, probably a couple months to kind of go through the process. Maybe quicker, just depending on how quickly we get feedback back.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it will take a little bit of time.
That's all.
Okay. My comments would be item number 26 for professional services for the development. Item number 27 for the professional services of the development. Item number 28 for aquatic design services. So we look forward to seeing what you come back with after fulfilling these concepts. Thank you very much for your time, and sorry for the interruption.
Oh, no problem.
We appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on. Item number 29. Right on. Resolve the resolution 2025 R96 authorizes the allocation of public funds in the amount of $500 from the FY 24-25 discretionary fund of Councilor John London to Shades Valley High School to be used exclusively for the Shades Valley High School Future Business Leaders of America. Councilman London.
Yeah, just one change I would like. I'm not sure why I missed this, but each student is going to cost them $675 to go. So I'm going to fund one student. So I want to add $200 more, so make that $700 instead of $500 for Shades Valley Future Business Leaders of America.
Okay. Amending from 500 to 700.
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Thank you. Councilman Box.
No question. Is it, I guess it is budgeted since it's
discretionary.
We can move it to consent.
We could, yeah. I mean, we got 49, so yeah. Fair enough. So Councilman Box wants to move this consent. What say you, Councilman Sims?
Great organization, and I will add 700 from my discretionary funds also.
All right. So you're gonna have to make her go type this back up now. All right, fair enough. So we have 700 from Councilman London and 700 from Councilman Sims for a total of 1,400.
Council
So
President,
Yes,
I'll add 700 from my discretionary.
Good. All right, plus 700 equals 21.
Thought you could coast through that last one.
I thought so. All right, so I'm willing to move this to consent if the body approves.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Outstanding. All right. With all of that being said, I would ask for an approval of the form of the agenda.
Council President, are there any other items we can move to consent?
We probably could. We just had so many that was living on the regular agenda. I just didn't even bother with it.
Like 22?
Honestly.
Like 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28?
All right. So Councilman London is lobbying for item number 22. Yes. Which other one?
You said 25.
25.
You have 23 also.
23 also. 24 cannot.
24 cannot. 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29, we already have.
25, 26, 27, and 28. Councilman London is lobbying for 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, and 28 to be added to consent.
26, 27, 28 budgeted.
Yes.
There you go.
So all of these are budgeted.
Yes.
Perfect.
Those engineering, they are included in the revised budget that we have right now.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe.
Councilman London, yes?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I'm gonna abstain on, some of these, Council President Spivey.
So the ones that Councilman London has,
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and abstain on them.
okay, fair enough. And Councilman Box, you're good with the recommendation. Councilman Sims, you're good with the recommendation?
Good.
All right, fair enough. That being said, someone have fun introducing this agenda accordingly.
John, you made the most changes. You go for it.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the agenda with 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, move to consent. Also 29 added from 500 to 700 for my discretionary. Councilman Sims, 700. The mayor, 700. And then also number 3 on consent item, instead of $306.99, $500 for my discretionary.
Second, and look at the player.
Nice. And seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nicely done. All right, that being said, now that we have an approved agenda, we will accept comments on agenda items only.
My name's Judy Wilson, 3510 Belmont Road. I'd like to speak to number 27 and 28, I guess, about the roundabout, the plans for the roundabout. I know I have heard, I read that the Cahaba Lily sculpture is fantastic. I have no problem with the sculpture. But that roundabout doesn't need something to distract the drivers. They can hardly manage to go around the roundabout without stopping or just never even entering it. It's really a mess. Somebody maybe should put a camera up there, maybe the police department, put a camera up there on the hill and observe it for a while. And we also need lights there. When it was an intersection before, a four-way, there were lights. And we need lights. We don't need a water fountain. What are you going to do when it freezes? Anyway, I am not in favor of the water fountain or you can put the lily up there. That's wonderful. But I don't understand. Somebody says, well, you need something to distract the drivers from looking straight across the circle. That's ridiculous. But put flowers there or bushes or something. With the iron, whatever you call it thing, for Irondale. But we don't need a water fountain. We need lights.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments on agenda items only?
I thought just for the police to be at the roundabout, just to see the people that do not know.
Name and address. Name and address.
Teresa Green, 5524 Hunters Hill Road.
And your comment is?
The roundabout. Please, the police need to be there just to see people who do not know what yield means. I was at the, in the yield lane to go to Old Leeds, okay? It does say yield. I was yielding. The vehicle behind me was blowing the horn to go. I think they thought they were in the lane where they could go, go on. Had I not had my lady pants on that day, I would put the car in park, going back there and told him where he could go.
Fair enough.
But seriously, the police need to be there monitoring that area. It's awful.
Thank you.
Well, I do have something. nothing else to say.
Okay, you got a minute 10.
I'd like to apologize to these two guys who spoke last, that we kept them all night for them to speak last.
Noted. Thank you. Any other comments on agenda items only?
Terry Johnson, 1504 Monticello Road. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for this meeting tonight. Listening to the explanations of the 6-month budget adjustments has been very enlightening. Thank you, sir, for the audit. I look forward to digging through it and digging into that and learning a little bit more about what's gone on in the city for the past year. Thank you again, mayor and council, for continued progress in the city of Irondale. I'm loving to see it, hearing great things. Been here 22 years. It's great. Love it. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Oh, let's go. Any other comments on agenda items only?
I'm Mary Scher, 5276 Amber Hills Road. Blessings to Claudine Land, who has been waiting. She was number one. She's still here waiting because you asked her to stay. So I've been sitting next to her. She's here from the Grace Klein community. I did have one question or just one comment on the garbage cans for the ballpark. Please send them some recycle cans too. I guess they're in stock. We could have recycle cans. And then at the Citizens Engagement Institute, Officer Hill said there was 5 new hires for the police department. They might want to look at that. The amount of money for the payroll. I'm concerned about the payroll for the police department with the 5 new hires.
Oh, they're gonna get paid.
What?
I mean, they are. They're gonna get paid. But they. Yes, there will be money in the general fund to be able to take care of it.
All right. Well, I was worried about my new hire. That was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, ma'am.
Michelle Barclay, 1118 Cole Daily Trace. I had this whole thing written, but I'd rather not say it. I'd rather say it this way. Some of the information that was presented tonight and touched on, and I really appreciated everybody's effort to clarify a whole bunch of stuff. But what I would like to ask in respect of all the citizens, especially the ones sitting here, is that some of the information that y'all discussed was misinformation posted. And it was posted as fact. And it was posted in a manner that didn't allow us to comment or ask questions. So one of the other local Irondale pages on Facebook was kind enough to post it so that other people could see it and comment, because originally it was posted in just our district. The conversation got a little out of hand because basically you stirred the pot and then sat back and watched it go. And I sunk down to a lower level than I expected of myself. I owe Jimmy an apology. But I was very frustrated because we see this information, we have a whole bunch of questions. The comments are turned off on that page. When we ask on another page, yeah, I mean, it just gets, we're very excited about Irondale. And so we get a little, yeah, stubborn and headstrong about it. But then we get to come here and sit, and we only have 2 minutes at the end of the meeting to discuss what's being discussed, and we still have all the questions, and we don't get to comment. And I'm sorry we laughed and got out of hand, but we're sitting here and we don't get to express the stuff until the 2 minutes at the end. And then nobody has to answer those questions. We're just kind of venting because we're here and we want to make it known. But then we go home, we get on Facebook, and it starts all over again. So I respectfully ask, especially my councilwoman, that anything that you post and it's deemed fact, or it's supposed to be presented as fact, that you make sure it's fact.
Thank you, ma'am.
Point of order, please. Nothing was presented as fact.
Nothing was presented as fact. Nothing was presented as fact.
All due respect, there's no need need to do a point of order on that. She's free to make.
Point
we
of
take
order.
the good, we take
Nothing
the
was
bad.
presented as fact.
I appreciate your clarification.
And I appreciate the adjustments that were made.
We're not longer
based on
talking
that
about this
Point of-
anymore.
point of order.
We're not talking about this anymore. All right. Are there any more comments on agenda items only? All right. With no more comments on agenda items only, I want to go ahead and close those comments. We're going to put a bow on this. All right. That being said, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as stated with the adjustments noted.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Were there any abstentions on the consent agenda?
No.
Okay. Got
No,
it.
I had abstained already.
Okay,
so
perfect.
no
I just
need
wanted to
do it
double
again.
check. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
There is one vote on the consent agenda. And so with all items that are
Yes, ma'am.
abstention to all of those.
Okay, gotcha. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing a step or anything like that in regards to her abstentions. So from the consent agenda, legal, are we good to proceed?
So that would be
Got it. Perfect. Thank you for the clarification. All right, with the consent agenda behind us, we transition into our regular agenda. If we could get a motion on 2024 R219A.
Make a motion that the resolution 2019A be denied.
There's a motion on the floor to deny this travel policy.
The amendment to the travel.
The
policy.
amendment to the travel policy. All right, with no seconds, motion fails. Does anybody care to reintroduce item number 10?
I move we approve 2024 R219A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second on this?
Second.
Motion seconded by Councilman Lennon. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Item number 11, would be if we can get a motion on 2025 R64A.
Motion R64A be moved.
Second.
We have a motion. Do we have a second on item number 11?
Dr. Box, second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Second by Councilman Box. All in favor?
No.
But aye.
No.
I will do a roll call for clarification. Councilman London?
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes,
You
with
made
the
the motion.
adjustment noted of 14 days only.
Copy that. Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, no. Item number 12, if we could get a motion on 2025 R79.
Motion that we move R2025 R79.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Item, if we get a motion on 2025 R80.
Motion that we move 2025 R80.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Move we approve 2025 R81.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Just keep it rolling.
Move we approve 2025 R82.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion we approve 2025 R83.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve 2025 R84.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion we approve 2025 R85.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion we approve 2025 R86.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion that we nominate Mary Sher Trey Hawkins. Oh, wrong one. Motion we approve 2025 R87.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. I'd like us to have a work session to discuss the audit. We haven't read it.
We
Roll
just
call,
approved
Councilman
it.
London.
Yes.
On accepting the audit, Councilwoman Cuellar.
No.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
Yes.
And I move with the body, yes.
Motion that we nominate Mary Sher and Trey Hawkins on R 2025 R88.
Second.
You have a motion. We have a second on that.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Councilman London.
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
No.
And myself, no. Does anybody care to
I
reintroduce
make a
that?
motion that we nominate Mary Shear and Miss Roscoe.
Second.
Councilman London.
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Yes.
Councilman Box.
Yes.
Councilman Sims.
No.
And myself, no.
I make a motion that we nominate Miss Shear and Miss, can't say her last name, Haverty?
Flaherty.
Flaherty?
Second.
Second, Councilman London,
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar,
Yes.
Councilman Box,
Yes.
Councilman Sims,
No.
and myself, no. I'll make a motion that we nominate Trey Hawkins and Heather Flaherty for these 2 vacant positions.
Second.
Motion, second. Councilman London,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar,
No.
Councilman Box,
Yes.
Councilman Sims,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you. All right, let me get back to where we were. All right, perfect. Item number 22, 23. All right, item number 24, ordinance process remains a resolution. If someone would be so kind.
Make a motion that resolution 2025 R91 be considered read.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye. Make a motion that we suspend all the rules that would prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2025 R91.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Motion that resolution 2025 R91 be adopted and approved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, 25 is on consent, 26 on consent, 27, 28, and 29. If I'm not missing anything, I believe that puts a bow on this. And I'm not missing anything, correct? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Seconded by Councilman Box. All in favor?